Welcome Rallycross drivers, back with another track guide. Today we are at Lucas Oil Rallycross. This is actually one of two real layouts that iRacing has from the Global Rallycross series. It's now defunct. I actually got to go to the event in real life. It was awesome. Really got me kind of hooked into Rallycross right at the end of GRC, so that was really disappointing when it fell through. But now we have America's Rallycross. So anyway, let's get to this track guide. I'm in the VW and rocking the baseline setup that you get for free. My good buddy Kevin Carlisle, one of the World Championship drivers, built all of the baseline setups. So they're really good starter setups, good things to kind of tweak to your liking. So anywho, let's get started here. So pulling out of the pits here, you have the starting grid. So I'm going to take you just on a slow cruising lap, and we'll go through this. Now, before I really dive in here, I just want to make a mention to another video that was made by Kevin and my other friend Matt Everhart that really kind of dives into Matt analyzing Kevin's lap. There's some really good information in there. There's probably some repeat information in my video, but just since I'm kind of picking up doing these track guides, I'm going to do my version and put that out there as well. So be sure to check out their video. I'm sure my video will probably get included in some forum posts and things like that along with theirs. So anyway, let's get started. So when you're coming off the grid here, you're actually entering the last turn. So this is a really fun 3-lane, sometimes 4-lane start. Can be less chaotic than a lot of starts, but that's only until you come around the bend here and start your first lap. So you're going to be up 5th, 6th. By the time you're getting into technical T1, you'll see the entrance to the Joker. We'll talk about this soon. I'm braking just before that little cross in the paint there, and I like to come low and swing up high as I'm downshifting, and I'm usually getting down to about 2nd and coming in, and I'm aiming to apex with the tire bollard right here. So you'll kind of come out, coming wide, and you see these IRX signs. I'm usually up to 3rd, maybe 4th, depending. I'm braking right about the 2nd one here as I'm trying to aim and turn in, dragging my brake here, slowing down, apexing with this. So you want to get a little rotation in the gravel here to kind of set you back up straight this way. And I'm usually already like just before this point swinging right to make this other corner, and you want to slide the car, but you want to apex right here. Go over the curb. Do not hit these tires. That will screw you up and everyone else up, and it'll be a big catastrophe. But I'm usually coming out here dragging the brake the whole time. Up into 4th, heading towards the jump. Kind of line myself up right here. I'm usually up to 5th. Coming up and over. Sometimes you might have enough speed, or depending on track wear, up to 6th. But right about where this line to the left of me is, I'm starting to turn and aim inside, usually coming down to 4th here, and you're going to slide and drag your brake here, and usually by the time you're getting to the end of this, you can kind of pop down into 3rd to help just stick to the inside of this wall, extra bit of rotation. You're kind of coming out, and this hairpin up here is really tricky because you're turning, coming out this way, but what you want to do is you want to start swinging and slowing the car down, and you kind of slide sideways, do like a weight transfer pivot right here. You want to get slowed down enough to where you're not sliding up the banking here. You want to get slowed down enough to where you're really coming up to this curb, not bouncing over the curb, but right up to it, to come around and then head up towards the wall. 3rd, usually up to about 4th, and then I take a weirder line, but a lot of people like to line up with those tire marks on the wall and start to come down 5th. So you're kind of slowing down right here and getting back on the throttle right about here and heading up to complete your very first lap.
2 minutes, 40.5.
So brake right before the paint in the X that makes the paint. It's really tricky to get rotation here. I'm never usually talking about the handbrake, but sometimes
You got about 5 laps
the
of fuel
handbrake
left.
is really handy here at Lucas Oil. See, kind of weight transfer, spin in the gravel there, and then up to speed. Alright, I'm gonna quiet down and see if I can put together a pretty quick lap here.
44.074.
See what kind of lap that was. 41.781. On a fresh track, you want to be in the 41s, kind of when you're very first starting out, or lower if you can get in the 40s. A lot of the really fast guys are kind of automatically in that 40, like upper 40 range on a fresh track. But if you're in the 41s, you're competitive. Mid 41s are good. Low 41s are really fast. So keep that in mind. This track wears out extremely fast compared to most others. As most of you are probably familiar, this is an asphalt track by default. So really, we've got dirt on top of asphalt, and this thing turns into asphalt pretty quickly. Becomes pretty difficult to drive, so this track you have to adjust your driving style quite a bit to suit the track wear. So just kind of keep that in mind. So the track isn't really like too tricky to get down and memorize, you know, because it's not very big. But that chicane and this hairpin up here are the two most important factors in getting fast lap times. So make sure you're running plenty of laps and really filling out the muscle memory there. Just kind of getting that stuff plugged in, and that'll just become second nature.
42.645.
So let's take this next lap and talk about the Joker. So the Joker is really strange here. A lot of people hate it. Actually, I think almost everyone hates the Joker here. It's the only Joker that we have that doesn't always have a positive delta. So it's between like a second positive and a second negative, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. And it lets out into that kind of hairpin end of T1 or T2, whatever you want to call that up here. And it's really tricky to get into it too, because it starts here, you got to get under this white line, and then this thing is tight and you're slowing down this whole time, because if not, you're bouncing off the walls and having all kinds of drama. But what you're going to be doing is coming into all the traffic that's also trying to apex with the same spot right there with you. So you're kind of taking risky moves, taking jokers in traffic. So my suggestion is, unless you're really confident, save it for when you're not dealing with a whole lot of traffic. Most of us, I think, take it whenever there's one or two cars around us and everyone's pretty familiar with the person going into the Joker, and it's not a bunch of traffic going in there, and it's kind of surprised when someone comes out of it. So just keep that in mind. This track is also maybe one of the most raciest tracks, so you can pass pretty much everywhere, which compared to the tracks I've covered so far on the track guides is kind of rare. They're usually one line, 2, 3, 4 passing opportunities per track, but this is pretty much passy all over. So I'll kind of go through and talk about the most opportunistic spots, but keep in mind that you can find your way around people pretty much everywhere. So one that I really like to do is just taking the deep dive underneath everyone that's kind of swinging up high here, and then just beating them into the turn and kind of blocking that for them. You can pass in these chicanes. Another one is sometimes people are coming out wide right here, and you can tuck in underneath, get real tight right here, and come underneath them and race into the jump. And then guess what? You have the inside line going into the sweeper. And then the hairpin, even if someone's not taking it too wide, you can get really tight here. Sometimes use that handbrake to kind of come around real tight, get underneath people. That's one of the more riskier places to pass because it's hard to judge how much someone's going to slow down, the exact line they're going to take through that hairpin. So take the risk, but just know that it's a little tighter than most spots to pass on. So you can cause a lot of chaos right there on that hairpin. So yeah, once the track really starts to wear in, really fast lap times are going to be in the low 40s, and you'll start seeing 39 lap times pretty easily. And this, like I said, the track wears out quick. So yeah, I think it's one of the least popular tracks, but I think it really gets a bad rep. A few people like myself actually claim this to be their favorite track. So
you've got about 2 laps of fuel left.
Don't be afraid to give it a try and jump into some races and have some fun. It can be one of the better tracks for battling. I actually have, maybe I'll put it at the end of this or make a separate video at some point, but I have some really interesting battles with some friends at this track. It's one of the best tracks to go back and forth, changing lead, slingshotting underneath each other, all kinds of stuff. So anywho, if you like what you see, be sure to subscribe, like, give me feedback, ask me questions, whatever you want.
You have about 1 lap of fuel left.
I will see you on the racetrack. Peace out.